So this here is the Lumix G-85. It's a mirrorless camera known for its versatility. But what are the drawbacks? And could it be the perfect budget camera? First, let's talk about the build quality of the physical camera itself. The magnesium alloy body is weather sealed, so it's great for shooting outdoors. It provides physical buttons and dials, allowing for some precise control. But for some, the button layout may feel a bit crowded. Swapping lenses is a breeze with this camera. Thanks to the micro 4/3 mount, it's super easy to swap between a kit lens or a prime lens or whatever you have. However, if you are looking for the highest resolution, this may not be the camera for you, as although it does shoot in 4K, it actually crops in due to its amazing stabilization. And if you're a vlogger, you might appreciate this camera due to its nice articulating screen that can flip out and then flip around. You can see it from the front. However, it's not the brightest of screens, so it may be a little hard to see if you're shooting out in the sun. And while you're shooting, you will notice the in-body image stabilization, which has been praised in this camera for being one of the best. And while you're shooting, you'll notice how smooth these shots are, even without a gimbal. And like I was saying earlier, the stabilization is one of the factors that the video footage is cropped in so much, because this uses its own system called E-stabilization, which works similar to stabilization you would do in post-production. Okay, the main downside of this camera is the autofocus. If you're just shooting photos, then it works perfectly. You just half press the photo button to complete autofocus. However, if you're filming a video, it's not a good idea, because as you're moving around, you'll actually go out of focus. On the outside of the camera, you have a clean micro HDMI out, a port to connect it to a computer to transfer files, a remote control port, and a microphone in port. And this is all in addition to the SD card slot. However, one thing to keep in mind, there's no headphone port. So if you want to listen for audio feedback, then you'll need to get an adapter. All right, when it comes to smartphone app connectivity, the Lumix G85 works pretty well depending on what app you use. Basically, you can trigger it to turn on its own internet connection, and you can connect that with any iOS or Android device. And this will work fine in Lumix's own app, the Panasonic Image app. Now, it works okay, but it feels really outdated and it looks pretty bad. However, there is an app on the App Store that's $20, and it's called the Field Monitor app. You can see it right here, and I'm using it right now to film. So when it comes to app connectivity, it works as good as any camera would, except you gotta pay an extra $20. But the Field Monitor app is great. It lets you use autofocus by tapping on your subjects in the app. You can start and stop recording, change the shutter speed, white balance, ISO, and aperture. One thing to note though is, unlike the Panasonic Image app, you can't transfer files through the app. The camera shoots all the way up to 4K at 30 frames per second, or if you want to do slow motion, you can do 1080 at 60 frames per second, which I just realized is what I'm doing right now. Crap. Well, I'm not in 4K, but that's alright, maybe next video. So yeah, this is the Lumix G85, a great camera for its price, even though it does have its drawbacks like its horrible autofocus and some minor feature limitations. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like or maybe even subscribe. And if you did enjoy this video, you'll probably like this one. It's about some cool tech accessories that you might be able to use along with your camera.